It started as a small dream. A few paper ghosts. A single fog machine. A simple idea to bring joy to the neighborhood. Back then, no one believed it would grow. Except me. Every October, I spent nights cutting, painting, and wiring. The garage became my workshop. The smell of glue and paint lingered for weeks. I designed every scene. Built every monster by hand. My kids helped, laughing as they painted tiny pumpkins. It was our thing. Our family magic. Then my sister joined in. At first, she brought snacks and music. Then, she brought her friends. Soon, she brought attention. People liked her smile. She knew what to say. I didn't. Reporters started calling her the creator. I said nothing. Mom told me not to cause drama. She's just better with people, she said. I kept building. I kept paying for everything. Each year, I worked harder. Each year, my name faded further away. The banners said, "To Anne's Haunted House." I saw it printed in the local paper. My hands trembled when I read it. But I smiled anyway. Because family comes first. That's what Mom always said. When my children asked why their names weren't mentioned, I lied. Next year, I told them. But next year never came. Two Anne's kids became the tour guides. Mine stayed in the background, unseen. Nam practiced his scary voice for weeks. He stood tall, ready to guide guests. But Mom said no. "Your cousins are better at speaking," she said. I watched his face fall. Lynn tore her drawings quietly in the corner. She had drawn every forest creature we built that year. I hugged her, whispering it was fine. But it wasn't fine. It was never fine. Every year, the same story repeated. The crowd grew. The reporters returned. And my name disappeared. I told myself it didn't matter. As long as people smiled. As long as the lights glowed. As long as the kids laughed. But deep down it hurt. It hurt every time I saw my sister's face on TV. Every time Mom said, "Be proud of her." I wanted to be proud. But pride doesn't grow in shadows. It wilts there. And I was wilting. I became the invisible one. The one who built everything, but received nothing. The one who stayed up till dawn while others slept. The one who turned ideas into magic no one remembered. My kids noticed before I did. "Mom," Nam said one night, "why do you never stand in front?" I didn't know what to say. I just smiled. And kept painting. Because that's what ghosts do. They haunt. They stay unseen. And I was the family's ghost. Keeping the tradition alive. Even as it consumed me. It began with a post. A bright picture. My sister, smiling beside the haunted arch I built. Her caption glowed across the screen. "My vision comes to life in 2 weeks. 70 likes in an hour." Comments flooded in. "You're amazing, too, Anne. Your creativity never fails. Can't wait to see your masterpiece." I stared at the words. My chest tightened. Every photo in that post was mine. The designs. The colors. The props. Even the mushrooms my daughter painted. All stolen, without a second thought. My fingers hovered over the screen. I wanted to reply. To shout the truth. But I didn't. Old habits kept me quiet. Then a message popped up. From my sister. "Make sure everything looks perfect before the mayor arrives." No, please. No, thank you. Just an order. As if I worked for her. I placed the phone down slowly. My heart thudded against my ribs. The kitchen felt too small. On the table lay receipts. Lighting. Fabric. Paint. All paid for by me. Over $3,000 this year alone. I whispered the total under my breath. It sounded absurd. Absurd that I kept giving while she kept taking. Nam shuffled into the room, hair messy, eyes half awake. "Mom, are we still doing the haunted house?" His voice was soft but hopeful. Before I could answer, Lynn followed, clutching her sketchbook. She had drawn new decorations overnight. Little ghosts with smiling faces. She looked at me carefully. Is Aunt taking over again? The question hit harder than I expected. How do you explain betrayal to a child? I forced a smile. No, sweetie. This house belongs to all of us. Her shoulders relaxed a little. But Nam frowned. She always forgets that, he said quietly. I turned away before they could see my eyes fill. Then came a knock at the door. It was Mrs. Lierne, our neighbor. She held a basket of warm bread. "For my favorite Halloween team," she said. Her voice was kind. Her eyes even kinder. "I saw that interview yesterday. 12 years, huh? Everyone here knows it's your imagination that brings it to life." Her words cracked something open inside me. For years, I had waited to hear that. Recognition. Validation. It came not from my family, but from a neighbor. I thanked her softly. After she left, I sat staring at the basket. The smell of bread filled the room. Warm. Honest. Unlike the cold praise my sister collected. My phone buzzed again. Another message from her. Hurry with the fog machine setup. I deleted it without reading further. Enough. Enough pretending this was love. Enough letting silence protect the wrong people. I opened my laptop and stared at the blueprints. Every line was mine. Every mark proof of my work. Something inside me shifted. For the first time, I wasn't afraid of what would happen if I said no. I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't. That night, I couldn't sleep. The moonlight spilled through the blinds. The blueprints glowed on my desk like ghosts of my own making. Every page whispered my name. My hands trembled as I folded them. I knew what I had to do. By morning, my decision felt heavy but clear. No more waiting. No more silence. I drove to my parents' house before sunrise. The garage door was open, filled with props and tools. Everything I had built over 12 long years. The fog machine. The mushroom lanterns. The forest arch I carved by hand. All of it sat there, waiting. I started loading the car. One box after another. Each piece a fragment of myself. Each one a story no one ever told. The air smelled like dust and glue. Memories clung to every object I touched. I almost cried when I lifted the last piece. The wooden sign that said Enchanted Forest. My sister's words had erased me. But these things still remembered who made them. The crunch of gravel broke the silence. My father's car pulled up behind me. He stepped out slowly, confusion on his face. "What are you doing with your sister's materials?" he asked. His tone was firm, the same as always. "They're mine," I said quietly. "I bought them, I built them." His brows furrowed. "You've always been selfish, Mai. Why can't you just support your sister?" The old guilt rose like a reflex. But this time, it didn't win. I took a breath. I have supported her for 12 years. Who's been supporting me? The words hung in the air between us. He stared at me as if seeing a stranger. Maybe I had become one. I closed the trunk gently. The sound felt final. He shook his head in disappointment. I got in the car and started the engine. My pulse raced, but my hands stayed steady. As I pulled away, I didn't look back. For years, I'd driven the same road in silence. Today, it felt different. Each turn, each mile. Like a small rebellion carved into the pavement. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls. Messages. Missed alerts from the family group chat. I ignored them all. The sun rose slowly, turning the sky orange. I parked in front of my house, heart pounding. Inside, the kids waited by the window. Nam's eyes widened when he saw the boxes. "Mom, what's all that?" "Our future," I said simply. They helped me unload everything. We laughed once, nervously, when a spider crawled out of a prop. It felt like the first laugh in weeks. That night, as I looked at the boxes stacked neatly in my living room, I felt something I hadn't in years. Freedom. It didn't roar or shine. It whispered. Soft, steady, and real. For the first time, I belonged to myself. The storm came quickly. By noon, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Family messages exploded like fireworks. Mom's voice filled the voicemails. "Your sister is devastated. Call her back immediately." Dad sent one line. "You've embarrassed us all." I didn't reply. Not to any of them. I sat at the table, sipping cold coffee. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. For the first time, I wasn't sorry. That afternoon, Nam and Lynn came home from school. Their backpacks hit the floor. Their eyes were wide with worry. "Mom, is Aunt mad?" I smiled softly. "She'll live." Then I showed them the garage. Boxes, props, lights, everything stacked neatly. Lynn gasped. "Are we doing our own haunted house?" "Yes," I said. Her face lit up like the lanterns we hadn't built yet. Nam grabbed a tape measure from my toolkit. "I'll plan the path," he said proudly. We began sketching ideas on scrap paper. A fog tunnel made from old sheets. A forest made of cardboard trees. A ghost path lit by recycled bottles. It wasn't grand, but it was ours. The yard buzzed with life again. Laughter replaced silence. We worked until the sky turned pink. When the first light flicked on, Lynn clapped her hands. "It's like magic," she whispered. And it was. Magic born not from money or fame, but from love and courage. Later that evening, headlights cut through the dark. A familiar car stopped outside. Mom stepped out, her expression tight. She walked straight to the backyard. "What is this?" she demanded. Her tone sliced through the air. "Our haunted house," I said calmly. She shook her head. "Ridiculous. You can't host something like this here. Return everything to your sister." Nam stepped forward, his voice trembling. "But Grandma, we already measured the werewolf tunnel. It fits perfectly." She ignored him. "Your cousins are better for this anyway. They're more confident." Lynn's small shoulders sank. I stood between them. "We're not returning anything." Mom's mouth fell open. "Don't be childish, Mai. This isn't about you." "You're right," I said. "It's about teaching my kids what family really means." Her eyes hardened. "If you do this, don't expect us for Thanksgiving." I didn't flinch. "Then we'll start a new tradition." Her silence lasted only seconds, but it felt like an eternity. She turned and left without another word. When the door slammed, the sound echoed across the house. I looked at my children. Nam was holding a flashlight like a sword. Lynn was wiping her tears with her sleeve. "Can we still finish the lights?" she asked. I nodded. "Of course. Let's make it brighter than ever." We stayed up until midnight. Painting, laughing, planning. Every brushstroke washed away another year of silence. Every sparkle of light rebuilt what we had lost. When the last bulb flickered on, I finally exhaled. The night felt lighter. The air tasted new. For the first time, our home belonged to us. Halloween arrived with a sharp chill in the air. The fog machine hissed softly in the corner. Our backyard shimmered with strings of golden lights. It wasn't perfect, but it felt alive. Nam stood by the entrance, clipboard in hand. Lynn adjusted her mushroom hat, grinning. Guests began to arrive, one car after another. Neighbors, classmates, even Mrs. Learn with her cane. She smiled as she entered the gate. "So this is the real haunted house," she said. Her voice was proud, not curious. I felt my throat tighten. People laughed as they walked the leaf path. Children screamed in delight at cardboard monsters. Parents took pictures under the glowing arch. Every reaction filled the air with warmth. The night hummed with energy. And for once, that energy belonged to us. Then headlights flashed across the street. A familiar figure stepped out. My sister. Her pearls gleamed in the moonlight. Mom and Dad flanked her like bodyguards. They moved toward the entrance with stiff smiles. I froze for a second, then straightened my back. Mom's whisper reached me first. "This is exactly why people think you're difficult." Anne forced a smile at the crowd. "We're here to help manage the guests," she announced. She reached for Nam's clipboard. He held it tight. Before she could speak again, Lynn's clear voice rang out from the maze. "Follow the glowing mushrooms if you dare." The crowd cheered. I felt something fierce bloom inside me. "This is our event," I said quietly. "You're welcome as guests." Mom's eyes widened. Be reasonable." "I am." My voice didn't shake this time. Sarah, my friend, stepped forward. "I'll show you where visitors can line up," she said smoothly. Mom hesitated, then followed her reluctantly. But my sister didn't move. She sneered. "Look at these decorations. So amateur. People will laugh." Before I could answer, Mrs. Learn stepped closer, tapping her cane. "I've seen both events," she said loudly. "This one has always been Mai's vision." Always. A hush fell. Heads turned. The truth hung in the air. Bright and undeniable. My sister's cheeks flamed red. She turned sharply, walking toward her car. Dad followed. Mom lingered, torn between pride and loyalty. But even she couldn't deny the applause that followed. Neighbors clapped. Kids cheered. Nam beamed with pride as he led another group inside. Lynn's laughter echoed through the fog. For the first time in 12 years, I didn't feel invisible. I felt whole. The night pulsed with light and freedom. As the last guests left, I sat on the back steps, watching the glowing yard. The air smelled like leaves and smoke. Beside me lay Lynn's drawing. 3 figures, holding hands under glowing lanterns. At the top, she'd written in shaky letters, "Our family haunted house." My tears fell before I could stop them. They weren't tears of pain. They were release. The kind that come when ghosts finally find peace. The morning after felt unreal. Sunlight poured through the curtains, gentle and golden. The yard still smelled like fog and candy. Empty cups and paper ghosts littered the grass. Nam ran outside barefoot, still buzzing with pride. "Mom, people said it was the best haunted house ever." Lynn followed with her sketchbook in hand. She had already drawn next year's ideas. I smiled at them, tired but full. Then my phone buzzed again. A message from my sister. "We should combine forces next year. 2 haunted houses will confuse people." I stared at the words. She still didn't understand. Still thought control was love. I set the phone down without replying. Minutes later, Mom called. Her voice was calm but sharp. "This has gone too far, Mai. Family must stay united." I didn't argue. I simply said, "We're fine." After that came the texts. Cousins, uncles, aunts I hadn't spoken to in years. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone wanted me to apologize. By afternoon, the guilt began to creep back. That old familiar ache. Then Nam handed me a photo. It was from the night before. He and Lynn stood in front of the glowing mushrooms. Their faces were pure joy. "Can we do it again next year?" he asked. Just like that, the doubt disappeared. "Yes," I said. "This time, it's our tradition." 2 days later, I met my sister for coffee. She looked perfect, as always. I came with a folder of receipts. 12 years of proof. She waved her hand dismissively. Nobody cares about that. I do, I said softly. Our event will continue separately. Her smile faltered for the first time. You can't just split the family. I already have. The silence between us was louder than any argument. When I left, I didn't look back. The next weekend, the local paper ran a headline. 2 haunted houses bring double the magic. There was my name. There were my children, quoted proudly. For once, the story was complete. That night, I cooked dinner in peace. No phone calls. No guilt. Only the sound of laughter from the living room. Weeks later, an email arrived. The community center wanted to collaborate. Lead designer for next year's festival, it read. I stared at the screen, smiling. The world had finally opened. A year passed in a blur of light and color. The new event was bigger, but calmer. Volunteers worked side by side. Nam directed lighting setups confidently. Lynn organized the pumpkin displays. The news crew arrived again. But this time, they asked for me by name. What inspired this? The reporter asked. Community, I said. And the courage to start again. Behind me, my children waved at the camera. Their laughter carried through the air. Later, a young woman approached shyly. My sister takes credit for everything I do. What should I do? I smiled gently. Keep records. Stand tall. And ask yourself what your silence teaches your children. She nodded, tears glimmering. When the festival lights dimmed that night, I sat quietly on the bench. The ghosts were gone. Only peace remained. And in that stillness, I finally knew what freedom felt like. Snow dusted the windows on Thanksgiving morning. The house smelled of cinnamon and roasted bread. Nam carried a basket of rolls to the table. Lynn placed handmade cards beside each plate. Their laughter filled every corner of the room. No tension. No whispers. No walking on eggshells. Just warmth. Just peace. My phone buzzed once. A message from Mom. Family dinner at your sister's tonight. Will you come? I looked at my children. Their faces glowed under soft yellow light. We have plans, I typed. But we'll stop by for dessert. I set the phone aside. Outside, snowflakes drifted across the quiet street. Inside, I felt lighter than ever before. The ghosts of guilt and silence were gone. In their place stood something new. Respect. Boundaries. Love that didn't demand sacrifice. I watched my children pass the food. Their smiles calm and certain. For years, I thought family meant surrender. Now I knew better. Family meant choice. And sometimes, the bravest act of love is teaching the next generation how to stand tall in their own light.